So my name is Kelly Sigler. I'm an elementary school principal or dean in the United States, and I come from the state of Iowa. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, and we have 4 kids together, and I am just here for my heart surgery. So my symptoms started almost 3 years ago. I had been very active. I enjoyed doing projects around my house and playing with my kids and going to the park, and all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, I got so fatigued, so tired, became very weak, started to have headaches and numbness, and I couldn't do the things that I was used to doing anymore, and started seeing doctors to try and figure out what could be going wrong. And I saw local doctors, and then I also went to the Mayo Clinic at that time. I saw neurology, gastroenterology, infectious diseases, rheumatology, oncology, all these different departments, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I couldn't give up because it felt like my life had been taken from me. And so I was able to keep pushing, and in May of this year I started to have cardiac symptoms. So I had chest pain, pressure, started having symptoms like a heart attack. And my dad was having issues at the same time, and so they took it very seriously. And I got a test done that showed that I had something called a myocardial bridge on my heart, and it's where your artery is supposed to lay on top of your heart to provide a constant flow of blood to your body. But mine was buried under layers of the muscle in my heart, and medication just made me feel worse. And so I was told that I would need to have surgery for it. I think in America, Mayo Clinic, I think around the world, Mayo Clinic is looked at as a top hospital. And so it was very difficult to feel like I was going to this top hospital and not getting the answers that I had hoped for. But once I found out what it was, I went back to Mayo Clinic again, and I went to see cardiology there. And they did some testing, but I didn't meet the criteria that they had at the time for moving ahead with surgery. And it was devastating to feel like I finally had an answer and I knew what needed to be done. But based on their testing, I didn't qualify for the surgery yet. It needed to get worse before I would qualify for surgery. And that was really difficult. And so I found a Myocardial Bridge Facebook group, and joined, and it's a very interesting group. As an educator, I'm stunned by the amount of knowledge that this small group of people has been able to put together around this particular disease, this birth defect. I don't know what you want to call it exactly, but they have so many resources for one another in that group. And I was able to start reading about where other people had gone for surgeries and what they needed to tell their doctors, and they had printed off research studies to bring their doctors to show them like it is serious, it is something that needs to be done. And so I was able to keep pushing that way, and then that's how I found out about Professor Kofidis. So the first thing that happened was that we had a couple of people on the Facebook group who posted about having surgery done in Greece, and I didn't pay a lot of attention at the time just because that seemed so out of reach for me. But they talked about this Professor Kofidis and how he was amazing, and that they had come to St. Luke's Hospital in Thessaloniki, and that they had had the best care they've ever had in their lives. I mean, these are people from Ireland, from Australia. There was a gentleman from the United States at that time, just maybe 3 people that had posted about it and just said it was incredible, the care that they received. And so Professor Kofidis offered to do a webinar for our Facebook group and just talk to us about what a myocardial bridge is and what his approach to it is and what his beliefs as a surgeon are around why it's so important to get the surgery done and not wait until it gets worse. And so I listened in on the webinar, which ended up being 2 hours long, and then at the end he gave everybody his personal email address and told us that we could reach out to him at any time for a free consultation to take a look at our images to let us know if we would be a candidate for surgery. And so I reached out. This was just in October, last month, was the first time I had ever even I think October 9th is when I watched the webinar, and now here I'm already done with my surgery. So, you know, thinking also about the United States, it would take months for me to get in somewhere. And from my first listening to him on a webinar to having my surgery complete and ready to leave the hospital today has been just over a month. So it's just been an incredible journey.
We have received and operated 2 patients from the United States this time, whose condition was a myocardial bridge. This is a condition that many doctors around the world tend not to take very seriously because the stenosis, the blockage therefore in the coronary artery, is not objectifiable. It doesn't always show up as it should compared to a traditional blockage in the coronary arteries. But the patients have a lot of pain, they have angina, they have serious symptoms. So doctors, not being able to objectify their symptoms, they are often even advising them to go see a psychiatrist. So this patient chose to come to us for many reasons. First of all, we have the expertise, meaning that we have a vast experience in treating myocardial bridges in the proper way, which is complete unroofing. The second reason patients choose to come here is St. Luke's capacity to clear them very, very fast, and the overall very positive patient journey they experience here in Thessaloniki at St. Luke's.
We had an incredible opportunity then to just come and, like, I feel like I'm looking off the side. There's like a balcony off of my hospital room. It's the most gorgeous country. There's mountains and water and trees, and so we went and did a bus tour, and we went to Lake Kirkini and saw all the wildlife, and we decided to do a tiki boat tour and go out on the bay, and we've had an opportunity to check out some local restaurants, and I keep telling my parents came with me while my husband stayed home with our kids, and I said it feels like it's just so alive here in Thessaloniki. Everything is so vivid, and like just it's incredible just to feel that life around you all the time. And I come from a very small community of like 2,000 people in Iowa, and so to go from that where it's all flat and farmland and then come here it was pretty neat. And so we had an opportunity, like I said, to enjoy all of that. And then came in last week on Tuesday and had some scans, some imaging, some blood work and things done, and checked into my hospital room. And then the following day I had open heart surgery. Professor Kofidis is a world leader in minimally invasive surgery, so we were hoping to go that way. It didn't work out in my particular case, and I'm so grateful that he was able to pivot and not be someone who's, I feel like sometimes people get very stuck in their way and how they want to do something, and so the fact that he was able to say, nope, that's not going to work, and pivot mid-surgery and go do the open heart so that he could fully heal me from what was happening was just a blessing. I was so happy when I found out that he was able to do that.
In these 2 particular patients, we did a complete myocardial bridge unroofing, which is we divide the muscle layers that cross over the coronary artery, causing the artery to restrict. So the roof of this artery that is causing the restriction has been cut and removed. So these patients now are anticipated to have less symptoms or even no symptoms in due course. It is very, very important when performing this surgery to do it on the arrested heart. That means to stop the heart, to do it properly, and to unroof well into the healthy area, even after the ends of the myocardial bridge. That is proven to also reduce spasm, coronary spasm, and therefore pain. It is very important for those patients because they are truly incapacitated without the surgery. They can't move, they stay on their sofa or on their bed, they can't go to work or exercise. The general approach to unroofing myocardial bridge patients is a median stenotomy, but with today's technology and skill which we possess here at St. Luke's Hospital, we're able to do it in a minimal invasive fashion. That means without cracking the chest bone open. Our access is through the fifth intercostal space on the side, without cutting ribs, without cutting bone, going through soft tissue and assessing the heart. There is also the possibility to conduct this surgery robotically with the help of the robot, but I would advise to do that only in very straightforward, very easy to unroof myocardial bridges, because the robot doesn't have the haptic return, that means the tactile feedback that a human hand has. And this unroofing procedure can be very, very fine. It really involves very, very fine tactile feedback in order to avoid injuring the vessel. In our practice, in my personal practice, both in Singapore as well as at St. Luke's in Thessaloniki, the approach is minimal invasive. That means through a small cut under the left nipple. There are, however, patients, because of the condition, the location of the bridge, the difficulty of the procedure, and the depth of the bridge, and other reasons where we have to approach through the median sternotomy. That means we have to open the chest bone.
I have to say, just at some point, the entire team, you know, Professor Kofidis was my main point of contact before I got over here, but the other heart surgeons, Dr. Rugalis, my cardiologist, all the way down to my housekeeping. I mean, everybody has been absolutely incredible and so kind and so welcoming. I was nervous about a language barrier, but it really hasn't been as much of a problem as I thought it might.
All in all, what attracts those patients from various countries around the world, let me open in parentheses here, the next patients we're anticipating are scheduled to come from Mongolia and India, and some others more from the United States, is of course not only our skill and expertise in minimal invasive heart surgery that involves and covers all the conditions, but also because Thessaloniki, Greece, and St. Luke's, of course, they have the capacities to treat these patients and offer them a comprehensive patient journey, particularly at St. Luke's Hospital, where I chose to practice this type of surgery, minimal invasive heart surgery. It runs like a family business. It's a very conducive environment, which makes these patients feel very, very good. It takes them by the hand on day one all the way to discharge and gives them a very, very personalized treatment. Also, St. Luke's and beyond that, Greece has the advantage, a relative advantage in terms of speed of care, of healthcare, provision of healthcare, and a financial advantage. Let's not forget, and of course we hope that all those patients can receive adequate care wherever they come from, is that healthcare in Greece is more cost effective at this point compared to larger countries like the UK or the United States, where patients eventually have to spend enormous amount of money to get their treatment, or may have to wait for a very long period of time to line up.
I would just say it's been beyond my expectations. I didn't know what to expect. I have never left the United States before in my life, and now I'm 37 and I'm leaving to have a major heart surgery across the ocean. It seems kind of like a strange choice, but I'm just so grateful that we took that chance and that Professor Kofidis had reached out to our group and let us know that he was an option for those of us who are suffering, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.